Yes, sir, of course. That would be fine, sir. Yes. Yes, we'll be finishing the project on time and that would be no problem. Yes. Okay. Bye. Hey guys. So just talking to my stakeholders. You're having problem with yours? I don't have any, but first of all, stakeholders seems like a fancy word, right? Like, whenever you think about that, you think about offices, big buildings, people, projects, clients, everything, right? But what are stakeholders? Do you know that? So, a stakeholder is any person, group, or any organization whose interests are affected by the success or the failure of any enterprise or any initiative. So, the success of the project is very important for the stakeholders. The stakeholders may be internal or external to the organization that is funding the project. Let me make things clearer for you. For example, in this video you're watching right now, who are the stakeholders? Take a guess. Obviously, it's me or the one who is editing the video or the person who wrote the script. And of course, you guys. So, catching up with the phrase internal or external to the organization, we have first of all internal stakeholders. What are internal stakeholders? A person is considered to be an internal stakeholder only if the outcomes and the objectives of the project are directly tied to them being the part of team that is overseeing the project, right? Now, the objectives, strategic goals, and the outcomes of the project are really important to the internal stakeholders. Like they can be the team members, project managers, business owners, or even the investors, right? And secondly, we have external stakeholders. These are the people who are not directly affiliated to the company but has significant impact on the business or some impact on the project. These people can be end users or subcontractors, government, suppliers, etc. So basically, I am the internal stakeholder and you guys are the external stakeholder. But still stakeholders, right? Cheers on that. I guess we are getting a little off track here. Now, diverse stakeholders' interest in project and its outcomes is basically positive, but having a lot of them can pull the team in many different directions, which can cause many difficulties. It is very difficult for stakeholders to reach a common consensus without proper management. Taking a really small example, any person who has bought a pizza for team can vouch for this thing. Now, having many different stakeholders and managing them can be really difficult for the project manager, which could cause many difficulties in the project further. Now, no two stakeholders are alike, right? So, the problems or the differences that they bring to the table are very different. That means for project managers, they can see a variety of problems or causes that can oppose the project from the stakeholders. How should I make you understand this? For example, the software guy likes the bugs in an app and the finance guy hates Excel, right? So now you can understand the different problems. Stakeholders with conflicting priorities. Participants bring their own objectives or expectations to the project. So it is really natural that some of these priorities may conflict or compete with each other. These priorities may vary depending on the department, nature, function, or the professional background of the individual. For illustration, let's say that one of your stakeholders' personal objective is to complete this project before he can go to the vacations. Even if this thing gives a timetable that is shorter than what other stakeholders may desire, they may be highly dedicated to completing this project as soon as possible. And guess what? The signboard says it correctly. Speed thrills but kills. Now, coming to communication breakdown. For everyone to succeed and for the project to be successful, there should be, actually scratch that. There has to be an open communication between the stakeholders and the team members. Whenever there is a communication breakdown, there is a high probability that the project will get delayed or the team might not get the resources that they require. The stakeholders may unintentionally hinder with the progress of the project if they do not have an effective communication. Stakeholders unwilling to disclose information. It happens that stakeholders do not provide all the information to the project team that they require from them, or they do not do so very promptly. It is possible that busy stakeholders often forget that they have to email important statistics to the team every week, or they even miss important business meetings. It is possible that the stakeholders unintentionally try to interrupt the progress of project. Well, a lot of problems to solve, right? But before we go solving them, here's something I got for you. I introduce you to Love, Empathy and Project Management, a book that will teach you about project management through real life scenarios, storytelling, and even visual representations. Isn't it cool? So, what are you waiting for? Go grab one. Link is in the description. And finally, for the samadhans or the solutions, I must say, before you can start analyzing your stakeholders, you need to identify them. You can just begin by making a list of all the people or the members you can think of. They can be team members, sponsors, business owners, or the investors, right? And then you can add extra individuals or group members as required. Just like Dark and Breaking Bad should top your watching bucket list, you should prioritize your stakeholders. It is really important. There are basically three kinds. The first, key stakeholders. The project is heavily controlled and influenced by this first group. This first group often includes the executive leadership of your company. Now, we have primary stakeholders. These are the people who are directly impacted by the project. They may include your team members, clients, departments, or anyone who stands to gain from the project success. Then we have our secondary stakeholders. These are the people who support your initiative. They are indirectly or somewhat impacted by your project, or they may have a lesser stake in it. A tree that defines all these three types of stakeholders shall decide what is the influence on the decision making power and what are the tasks that should be worked on first. A communication plan for the stakeholders. But before we get into that, let me clue you in. I am not in danger, Skylar. What comes next? I bet you all know. So, what are you waiting for? Comment it down in the comment section. Now, you can manage your stakeholders quickly and keep the piece of your project going by having a communication plan. You can update it afterwards if necessary. That only requires feedback from the stakeholders. In many cases, this only requires that you ask your stakeholders briefly that what is their preferred method of communication and then jot it down. Now, you can manage your stakeholders easily and keep the piece of your project going by having a communication plan. It is really easy. All you have to do is ask your stakeholders what is their preferred mode of communication. You can update it anytime later if necessary. Now, even if you take down notes for later reference, it is really good that you know what your stakeholders require from you. It is really good because this helps you to manage your project in an organized and well-targeted manner. So guys, in addition to all the things that we have learned today, I have a pro tip for you. Things like transparency, clarity, and inclusiveness go a long way in stakeholder management. Now that we're done with stakeholder management, I bet that you guys are dying to get into cost management, right? So I guess you'll find a link here, or you might find it here, or you might find it here. I guess that's it for today, guys. I'm getting a call from my stakeholders. It's good to have communication, right? So I hope you liked the video, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe. I'm Ujjwal Singla and we'll meet in the next video. Signing off.